What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today I've got a real special fancy one for you from our friends over at Rockstead. These are the Hizen DLCs. Absolutely fantastic little knife, and I definitely want to err on the side of little, as the photos of this can make it look bigger than it is. So we're going to go through some measurements, we're going to weigh it in, we're going to take a look at it, talk about how it differs from a couple of the other models, go over the materials, and more than anything, enjoy a conversation about a cool knife, an iconic brand known for putting out some high quality pieces. And we're going to do that while hopefully making the least amount of mistakes possible while you enjoy your cup of coffee or your beer or wine or whatever you're doing right now. Hopefully you're enjoying it and we can do this together. So there you go. As a reminder, guys, check out my site, BladeZilla.ca. That's it right there on my phone. And that's the cutting board we are looking at right now as well. So there you go. BladeZilla.ca, got lots of cool stuff. Got another strip, some Thai Umus from CKF, some Pennas, all kinds of good stuff. Microtech, ProTech, TRM, CKF, you name it. Some lots of cool stuff on the site. That's BladeZilla.ca in Canada. But we're not here to talk about BladeZilla. We're here to talk about the Rockstead Hizen DLC. So I guess before we get started, the obvious, DLC diamond light coating. It is kind of found all over the place here. So we've kind of got the black handle in that wavy pattern that they're known for, which is not just a look, it is actually milled and looks stunning. Now it is they have a name for it, but it's essentially like aluminum, alu something, but it's an aluminum handle instead of titanium like on the high-end Hizen models. It is still with that black mirror DLC blade, which looks great. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they have a Hizen ZDP as well, I think. So that would be their standard blade offering. Instead of the DLC mirror, it would just be a mirrored ZDP. But don't quote me on that. I thought I saw one. I am an extra large glove hand, and as you can see, it fits me rather comfortably. I would say this is more of your EDC carry size, more of a bug out size blade. You know, not a whole lot of room to go, but at the same time, well balanced. Thumb studs on phosphor bronze. Very fancy. And then that cutout, which I'm told is for weight reduction to lead to balance. Pretty cool. Let's get some measurements on this, and then we'll talk about that blade, because the blade itself is a little bit different than the Hizen series. So overall length, we're at 7 inches, maybe a little bit more, 7 1/8, 7 1/4, depending on the accuracy of your eye, but I'm seeing 7 1/8. Blade length of about 2 7/8 sharp, maybe 2 3/4, somewhere in the middle there, but certainly to the center of that choil, we are around 3. Handle length of about 4 inches. So keep that in mind. Pretty EDC friendly type size. And I've got I was trying to find my bug out, but I've got a bailout, which similar size wise, but a little bit lengthier. But to give you an idea, there's your bailout. So it's not a massive knife. Keep that in mind. Not massive, but at the same time, just a really good carry size. There's a Defiant 7. I'll go through a couple sizes here just to kind of give some perspective. And if I got a small Sebenza within reach, probably the most close related knife in the mix would be the small Sebenza. So let's get this centered here. There we go. There's your small Sebenza. So I would say, you know what, if you're a small Sebenza guy, this is the Japanese small Sebenza with more milling, cool flare on the blade and the mirror polish, same thumb studs, aluminum frame versus titanium. So keep that in mind, but just a different flavor of something very iconic, very similar in nature. So just keep that in mind. So there you go. Small Sabenza-esque. And if you know me, I don't have a ton of small knives. I kind of like medium plus. So the smallest would be that small Sabenza. There's your strip, your fat strip from Shiro, which makes this guy look scared a little bit. But the fat strip's not a massive knife. It's a thick knife, but it's just to give you an idea. You know, a lot of these videos are focused around comparisons, and sometimes I don't have a ton of the kind of small mid, I'd say. I have some, but not a ton. There's your Trevor Berger Urban. And I'll grab a Rosie as well, which will make it look very thin. There's your Roosevelt, which is actually similarly lengthwise, just a little more girth to it. We're not going to joke there. That's not a funny. But there you go. There's a couple sizes. Now, one of the questions that I had actually from about half a dozen people was around the blade grind on this, because the Hizens that I had, they have a 0 degree grind on it. And if you look up Rockstead, you look at their website, they're actually kind of touting this knife as kind of their EDC friendly, low maintenance, easy. I can't recall the exact verbiage that they used, but it was basically around the, you know what, it doesn't have that grind. So after looking into it a little bit, I believe they tout it as a 24 to 30 degree standard grind, which, as you can see, it is an external grind on the outside of that DLC coat versus kind of the convex grind that is on the Hizen. Is it convex or is it concave? It makes sense to be convex. So there you go, standard grind, but they added a little Rockstead flair. Rockstead's not a company to do things halfway, so they kind of added a little kind of cool factor to the grind, and a 24 to 30 degree, which I would assume it would start from the tip and work its way back, 24 to 30. I'm just assuming that. Let's get some weights on this. Doesn't feel very heavy. It's probably in the 3 to 3.5 ounce range. Let's get that 0. Survey says 2.6. Oh my goodness. Once again, 2.6. This just goes to show me that sometimes I'm just not with it. I'm filming this in the morning right now, so I'm not exactly quite awake yet, but we're getting there. So 2.6, wow, it is light. And you know, probably because it's of aluminum, right? As we know, aluminum does weigh less than titanium, kind of inch for inch. It's not as strong as titanium, typically. It tends to shear a lot easier. So what is this knife? Well, if we look at this and we compare it to the Higo 2s, both the CF and the full ties, I want to say this is right around half the price. Sometimes, in some cases, in the CF, I believe is more than double. But you're in the conversation of, you know, half the price. So this is, as far as I know, Rockstead's entry-level knife into the market. So if you've never tried one, you're likely trying a Hizen to kind of see what the brand is all about. And this really kind of give you a good taste of the brand, in that you get that mirrored DLC blade. You get the same action that's on the other knives. Looks gorgeous, well done, super silky smooth, just no surprises. Beautifully centered. Just a very excellent knife. Now, where you're cutting corners, so to speak, is, well, instead of aluminum, you're going to titanium. And on the blade, you're not really cutting corners a whole lot. It's still fantastic, still well done. You're still getting high-end materials. Pretty plain, I guess, for Rockstead. That's not a bad thing, because their level of detail, like if you compare this to, say, you know, another aluminum handle, like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, say an American-made aluminum-handled Good knife, good to very good knife. I'd say very good. I would say it's probably, what would we be talking with a thumb stud? Maybe, well, no. I was gonna say like a TR3 Integrity, but the fit and finish is night and day between the two. It's not a fair comparison, although material-wise, that would be an aluminum handle thumb stud knife. It's no comparison whatsoever. The Rockstead blows it out of the water. Now, if we're looking down inside, it is basic, right? No skeletonization. And once again, back to the fact that aluminum is lighter than titanium. You don't really need to take a whole lot of material out of it. We've got that lock bar bend inside the frame instead of outside, with milling still on that other side, which is cool. Pretty basic clip, nothing too fancy there. Less is more in this type of stuff. We've got the jimping on the back of the handle, so good for reverse grips. And then a lock bar insert. Don't know what material it is, but it is micro, very small. And then that little, looks like almost like a T4 on that lock bar for that metal lock bar insert / over travel stop, which you can kind of see it dangling down there like a molar of a tooth. Pretty cool. You know, this to me is, it doesn't really matter what Rockstead you would take out of your pocket, say you're at dinner or at a friend's house and you throw this on the counter next to your keys. It has wow factor to it. Just look at it. This is not anything like a TR3 when you pull that knife out. It has a lot of wow factor. It's thoroughly well designed, well thought out, beautifully executed as well, and just like look at how the light moves around and bounces this thing into oblivion. It's so well done, both sides. It's really hard to explain. It really is. In terms of the actual features, somebody asked was if you could front flip these. I think you can. You can kind of see there's some jimping there, which is kind of for your thumb, but I still think you could front flip them if you really wanted to, because I can certainly open it with my thumb. So with a little bit of love to that bronze as they wear in, I'm sure you could figure out a way to front flip those open. But that jimping goes nicely inside the cutouts on the handle. Looks great. No issues there. Big grippy thumb studs as well. Hizen written on the blade. Just well done. I really don't have a whole lot more else to talk about this. I just think it's a real, well executed, nice knife. Good material selection at an excellent price point. Like, you know, comparing this to, say, I want to say it's in the conversation of like a Neon Zero. So a Neon Zero flipper, your tie with M390 on bearings. Well, this, your aluminum with DLC mirror polished blade on phosphor bronze, well executed. I would give it to the Rockstead in terms of milling detail on that aluminum. In terms of action, I'd give it to the Shiro, but we all know that I'm very loyal to Shiro and an absolute whore when it comes to Shiro Goroff. I love those knives. But just two different styles, right? Like it's just comparing apples to oranges. A flipper to this, it's a Chris Reeves versus, you know, something made on bearings. Like it's just very different. I love the hardware is also all DLC. You still have a lanyard hole as well if you want to run something through that. Less is more on this one, big time. And I'd be curious to know who can actually front flip these things all the way open. Just the fact that it does pop nicely and there's some grip there. If you wanted to roll it out, you could. That's kind of cool. You know, when you get from this into the high-end tie, the bigger models of Rockstead, like you definitely notice an increase in heft, and but the fit and finish is unchanged between them. It's very nice. So I wanted to do a quick video today on this one. Just you know, haven't had a ton of Rocksteads come through, and I certainly want to focus on that line and get more of them out and more of them through the store. So I am kind of starting to dabble in that space a little bit. I think they make fantastic knives, and they're certainly at the BladeZilla standard that I like. So absolutely recommend this. They are pricey, keep that in mind. I think they're table, I want to say these are around $850 US. So whatever that is, I don't know when you're watching this video, but right now I think that's around what, 1,300 bucks, 1,400 bucks Canadian. Quite an expensive knife to import as well, but just a beautiful knife, well executed, excellent material choices, and that blade is just worthy of, geez, it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. How can you get tired of that blade? Looking down at that. With that nice cool edge on there. That's unique, eh, for a Rockstead? Super cool. All right, well, I think I'm going to leave you guys there. Short video today, nothing too crazy, but wanted to get this in front of you because I think it's just such a cool knife and just different from what we're used to seeing right now in Canada. So there you go. That is the Rockstead Hizen DLC diamond light coating and super cool knife that's coming through the store. Check us out, BladeZilla.ca. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. There's so many socials. It's tough to keep track of which ones are actually doing anything, but there you go. Appreciate you guys, as always, for stopping by. Every Monday and Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, I'll try to drop a full-length video like this. And so far, we're coming up on, what, 1.5 to 2 years of doing it like clockwork. So, so far, so good. All right, guys, have yourself a fantastic week. And if you have any questions, drop below. Otherwise, we will see ya later on. Peace.